Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. In the distant future, Earth is governed by a militaristic regime called the Global Federation of Earth. After the Galactic War veterans ousted democracy, this ruling power encourages the people to join the mobile infantry, promising citizenship in return for their federal service. I'm doing my part. You know it. Citizenship grants rights like voting and procreation that are withheld from ordinary civilians. It turns out that humanity is now at tense conflict with a race of highly evolved insectoid creatures, the arachnids, or bugs. One of the planets inhabited by these creatures, Klendathu, hurls countless meteorites towards Earth. As a result, the military force intends to eliminate Klendathu in order to protect humanity. The scene then cuts to 1 year earlier, and we are introduced to a high school student, Johnny Rico, who is seen attending a class of Lieutenant Rassak. As the teacher talks about democracy's failure, Johnny is busy flirting with his girlfriend, Carmen Ibanez. After class, the couple goes to check their test results. Carmen seems to have scored a high mark, while Johnny fails because he's an idiot. Just then, he is approached by his best friend Carl, who asks about the relationship with Carmen. He reveals that a girl named Dizzy also likes him, but he wants to stay with Carmen. Afterwards, the students are assigned to dissect some large arachnids in their biology class. The teacher implores that these creatures are superior to humans for their rapid reproduction and selfless instinct. Johnny nonchalantly carves open and pulls out the creature's innards, which only causes Carmen to feel uneasy and throw up in disgust. After school, Johnny goes to Carl's house to learn psychic abilities. It turns out the latter has been practicing them to become a soldier. As the two are chatting, Carl's pet disturbs them, so he uses his ability to send it away. He, however, claims that he hasn't figured out how to do such manipulation on humans yet. The next day, Carmen cheers for Johnny during a rugby match. At one point, he evades an opponent, Xander, leading him to score a touchdown while the latter crashes into the audience. Xander gets up with the help of Carmen and is immediately smitten by her. The two have a brief chit-chat when he mentions going to Fleet Academy. This excites Carmen since she aims to attend the academy as well. Their conversation is witnessed by Johnny, causing him to be jealous. He then vents his anger on the game, ultimately securing a victory. Later, at home, Johnny's father confronts him about signing up for federal service, which involves 2 years of sacrifice and uncertain survival. He suggests that Johnny attend Harvard University instead, but the boy remains resolute. "I'm too stupid for that, Dad." It appears that Carmen and Carl are enlisting in the military to attain citizenship, which is why Johnny wants to do the same. However, his low grades prevent him from joining her in flight school, placing him in the mobile infantry instead, while Carl opts for military intelligence. All three of them then sign for the academy and vow to remain friends despite being light years away. The very next day, Johnny meets Carmen at the airport as she's leaving for her training. He confesses his love for her, but she hesitates to respond. Just then, her flight is announced, so she departs after kissing him one last time. A few days later, Johnny also heads for his military training, where he and the rest of the new recruits are drilled by the brutal career sergeant Zim. Shortly after, Dizzy also joins them, having requested transfer to Johnny's unit. This is because she has a massive crush on him. "I don't like bugs, Johnny, but I like your balls." During lunch, she tries to talk to Johnny, but he tells her not to tag along with them. She denies joining the unit because of him, but he doesn't believe her. Later, while taking a group shower, a fellow unit member, Kitten, asks everyone for the reason why they joined here. A guy named Breckenridge claims that he wants to avoid becoming a farmer, unlike his parents, while a young woman, Diana, wants to enter politics. When it's Johnny's turn, Dizzy intervenes and claims that he's here for his love. On the other hand, Carmen enthusiastically proceeds with her training and seems to be going very well. At first, she's assigned to piloting a Corvette transport ship, which she handles very easily. After this, she's transferred to Fleet Battle Station, Ticonderoga, where she learns that her instructor is none other than Xander. As Johnny's training begins, he demonstrates his exceptional athletic prowess that eventually earns him a promotion to squad leader. One evening, the entire unit is resting in their compartment when Johnny receives a video message from Carmen. She informs him that her training is going really well, and she's very happy with it. However, she also has bad news. She reveals her decision to end her relationship with him due to their diverging career paths, also citing that she needs to focus on her career, aka Xander. She apologizes for the same and asks him to write back so that they can remain friends. This leaves Johnny devastated because she was the reason why he enlisted himself in the military. Overhearing this, his batchmate Ace tries to comfort him, saying that he got his promotion on his own. As days pass by, Carmen continues training with Xander and quickly acquires proficiency in various flight-related skills. At one point, she proves herself a skilled pilot when she changes their navigation course to a more efficient route. Due to this, she's officially invited to be a part of the captain crew, rather than remaining a trainee. Xander congratulates her for this achievement and notes that they're a good team. Their conversation is abruptly interrupted when they detect a gravitational shift caused by an approaching asteroid. In a quick move, Carmen skillfully maneuvers the ship beneath the asteroid, managing to avoid a collision with only minor damage. This earns her praise from the captain, which makes her happy. One day, during a training session, Johnny leads his squad into a combat situation using live ammunition. Amidst this, Breckenridge complains that his helmet is malfunctioning, so Johnny removes it to check. At the same time, Deanna trips when she gets hit by a laser. This causes her to accidentally fire towards Breckenridge, killing him on the spot. As a consequence of Johnny's irresponsible action, he's demoted from squad leader and publicly flogged in accordance with military law. Nothing like a good flogging. Deanna, overwhelmed by guilt, decides to leave the military. These events leave Johnny disheartened, and after some deliberation, he also decides to quit for good. While packing his belongings, he receives a video call from his parents, who are happy to welcome him back home. Suddenly, he notices his parents' house go dark before the call ends. A short while later, all the soldiers watch the news about a meteor from Clendathu hitting Earth, causing widespread devastation and claiming millions of lives. Johnny and Dizzy are shocked to learn that their hometown has been completely wiped out. Now that there's no reason left for Johnny to return home, he requests his commanding officer to rescind his resignation. In response, Zim tears up the resignation form, accepting him back into the squad. As a result of this sneak attack, Earth declares war against the arachnids. In the next scene, the military infantry arrives at Ticonderoga, where Johnny reunites with Carmen. She wastes no time and explains that their breakup was for the best, since they're at war. Right then, Xander steps in, and Carmen shares that they're in a flight team together. Misinterpreting this as the reason for their breakup, Johnny opts to walk away. However, he is provoked when Xander insults the infantry. He then gets into a fight with the douchebag, disregarding his higher rank. However, the fellow bathmates quickly separate them before their commanding officer notices. The following day, an invasion force is dispatched to Clendathu. While en route, Carmen detects plasma beams, which her captain disregards as harmless. However, these beams prove destructive, exploding several infantry-carrying ships. Despite the losses, the surviving ships manage to land on Clendathu. The soldiers then rush for an attack and begin firing towards the gigantic bugs that release the plasma beams. For the first few minutes, the soldiers are able to kill several bugs with their rifles and missiles. However, they're eventually ambushed by a swarm of bugs, forcing a retreat on the general's orders. In the chaos, the commanding officer is captured and torn in half, while Kitten's body is thrown into Johnny. Regardless, he continues firing until a bug stabs him in his leg. Realizing that they can't overpower the arachnid's defense, the surviving soldiers get back to the spaceship and return to Ticonderoga. After the battle, the death toll seems to have reached 100,000. Carmen checks the list of the dead soldiers and finds Johnny's name, which breaks her down into tears. Unbeknownst to her, he is in the care of the medical squad, receiving treatment for his injuries. Days later, the fully recovered Johnny, Dizzy, and Ace join a new unit called the Roughnecks, who are recognized for their high bug kill count. When Ace jokes about their lieutenant, a corporal named Birdie punches him, claiming that he was the one who saved their lives. Soon, Johnny discovers discovers that their lieutenant is none other than Razak. He's a veteran of the first bug war several years earlier who has been brought out of retirement to lead the group. Razak announces his plan to carry out the second attack, emphasizing a foolproof strategy this time. The following day, the Roughnecks initiate their attack by dropping a series of bombs over an area of the bug's planet, incinerating numerous arachnids. After this, the military unit advances for a ground assault, eliminating the surviving arachnids with gunfire. Johnny's squad directs a missile into a bug hole, exterminating all of its inhabitants. The commotion results in a gigantic tanker bug emerging from the ground. It shoots burning acid towards the soldiers, unfortunately melting Birdie's right arm. In a courageous move, Johnny climbs a cliff, leaps onto the tanker bug, and begins firing. Upon creating a hole in its back, he drops a grenade inside, causing the bug to explode. Last time I saw this, I was 12, but I'm pretty sure it was freaking awesome. Impressed by Johnny's valor, the lieutenant promotes him to corporal and designates Dizzy as a squad manager. Later that evening, Razak treats the troops with beers and entertainment kits to celebrate their first success. Amidst this, Dizzy invites Johnny to dance, but he turns her down. Seeing this, Razak advises him not to pass up on the good things in life. Johnny gives it a thought and goes to dance with her. Their moment eventually turns romantic, and they end up making love in a tent. Razak's not just a pilot, he's also a fiery hot wingman. The following day, the Roughnecks are assigned to investigate an outpost on planet P. While marching through a rough and rocky canyon, Razak's communications sergeant is carried off by a winged flyer bug. But before it can stab him, the lieutenant shoots the sergeant, sparing him a painful death. He announces that he'd expect anyone in the unit to do the same for him as well. After this, Johnny gets another field promotion to sergeant and assumes command of the squad. Upon arriving at the outpost, they discover that the place has already been attacked. They also find a soldier with a hole in his skull, revealing that the bugs have sucked out his brains. Shortly after, they are ambushed by thousands of warrior bugs, supported by tanker and flyer bugs. The troops open fire, but they are soon outnumbered. Johnny rushes to the communication tent and requests for pickup. While the ship is on the way, Razak orders a retreat for evacuation. Minutes later, the ship and Xander open the door, ordering everyone to get inside. During this, Razak is ambushed from beneath the ground by a tanker bug that chews off his legs. Knowing that he won't survive, he orders Johnny to shoot him, which the latter reluctantly does. Following this, Dizzy throws a grenade into the tanker bug's mouth, exploding it to death. However, another bug appears and stabs her with its big pointed stinger. Johnny and Ace manage to shoot down the bug before carrying Dizzy onto the ship. On their way back to the base, Dizzy passes away in Johnny's arms, leaving him in tears. Meanwhile, Xander goes to the cockpit and informs Carmen that her ex-boyfriend is still alive. This shocks her, but she manages to conceal her emotions. After Dizzy's funeral on a starship, Johnny and Carmen are joined by Carl, now a high-ranking colonel in military intelligence. He reveals that the Roughnecks were used as bait to test a theory, initially infuriating Johnny. However, the theory has proven correct: the existence of a brain bug that controls all arachnids. Carl now appoints Johnny as the leader of the Roughnecks, promoting him to lieutenant and instructing him to return to planet P to capture the brain bug. While heading to planet P the following day, Carmen's ship is torn in half by a plasma beam. In a frantic attempt to survive, they rush into mini space pods to abandon the ship. Tragically, many crew members are pulled out into space, resulting in their immediate demise. Furthermore, the captain also gets fatally crushed under a door. Xander and Carmen somehow manage to reach the pod and barely escape before their ship is completely destroyed. Following this, they crash land deep inside the bug nest, several meters underground. They then contact Johnny via radio, revealing their location. Hearing this, the lieutenant directs his squad to proceed with their mission, while he, Ace, and their squad mate Watkins aim to rescue the stranded pilots. However, it's too late, as the two are captured by the arachnids, one being stabbed in the shoulder while the other in the leg. A short while later, the duo is approached by the brain bug that soon stabs Xander in his skull and sucks out his brain. When this leader bug comes for Carmen, she cuts off its appendage, causing it great pain. Just then, Johnny and his team arrive at the scene, holding a nuclear bomb that momentarily temporarily scares the aliens into backing away. Soon after, the brain bug escapes. While the arachnids launch an attack on them, the soldiers open fire, but Watkins gets sliced across the body during this commotion. Knowing that he won't make it, he takes the nuclear bomb and decides to sacrifice his life, urging the rest of them to run. Once the arachnids are close enough and the others have escaped, he triggers the bomb, blowing up his own ass, as well as the bugs. Upon reaching the surface, they discover that the mobile infantry, led by Sergeant Zim, has captured the brain bug. Carl uses his psychic ability to read the brain bug's mind and announces that it's afraid of his captors, bringing great joy to everyone for their success. With the brain bug in custody, military intelligence begins studying it to understand how to defeat its entire race. On the other hand, Carmen is now promoted to captain, leading her own ship, while Johnny continues to lead the Roughnecks in their mission to eradicate the threat completely. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.